Now, work on these sacred geometry stones, they take me a couple of days to paint, and the reason why is first, with this big plumpy dot, I let it dry before I even attempt this first row because these dots are so tiny and I have to try to get my spacing as close to perfect as possible because the whole pattern builds off of those first couple of rows. Then once I get to the sides, I have to wait for all those dots on top to be dry so that I can hold it, so I can position the stone to place these dots on the bottom. And then once all the dots are dry, I can go in and add these teeny tiny detail dots. Here's one of the ways I find the center of a stone for a mandala. I use this little stencil to kind of line it up to where I think the center is, and then I just mark this spot, and then I go and check it with a compass. The outside line will show me where my mandala will end, and now it's ready to paint. Today I'm going to show you how to make your own stones to paint on. You guys keep asking me about some of these perfect stones, and some of them are handmade, and this is how I do it. I use gypsum to make my stones. It's a very strong, durable product. If you can't find gypsum where you are, you can also use plaster of Paris, and it is also a cheaper option. I then pour them into these molds that I got from Happy Dotting Company. A big tip is that you have to tap them on the sides to let the air bubbles come to the bottom of the stone. Otherwise, the air bubbles will be at the top of the stone, which is the side that you paint on. Now that I have all the bubbles to the bottom of the stone, I then take a paper towel and just kind of dab it on the back side, and that gets rid of those bubbles, so I have less sanding to do at the end. As I was dotting, these two dots ended up touching. Shouldn't be a big deal, should be an easy fix, but I just keep messing up more and more dots as I kept trying to fix this. Look at how many dots I ended up messing up. I wanted to share this with you guys just to show you that I make mistakes all the time. So this little wooden pebble is not perfectly round. It's kind of oval. And they're called wooden pebbles because that's what the Etsy shop calls them. I know they're not actually a pebble, but you know, it is what it is. So I use this little stencil to kind of help me find the center and drawing some guidelines on here. And then I'm just going to use a compass to kind of add a couple more circles. And now it's ready to paint. For this stone, I decided I really wanted to do a sacred geometry stone. Now this is a really simple pattern, but that can also be very misleading. With it being a simple pattern, any difference in the size of your dots or your spacing becomes very noticeable. There's nowhere for those things to hide. So in a way, these simple patterns become more difficult due to the amount of accuracy you have to have in order to get the desired effect. My next stone is going to be a red and gold mandala. So on this one, I did not have a plan, but I did know that I wanted to start off the first couple rows with gold doing the sacred geometry pattern. So I just did a lot of these tiny dots and just did a few rows of this to kind of build my center. And then I went in and started adding the petals. That center dot, I wanted it to be a little bit of brighter red. So I brightened my paint up just a little bit, and I was able to just go in and place that dot on top of the old dot. Next, I decided to have some fun and just kind of play around with the design on this one, just to kind of see what I could come up with, and here's the finished result.